For 80 years, one currency has ruled the world. The US dollar has been the foundation of every major trade deal, every international transaction, every geopolitical move. It's been America's greatest weapon, its ultimate power source. But in 2025, that power is crumbling. President Trump just threatened 100% tariffs on countries that represent half of the world's economy. His message was clear: stop attacking the dollar or pay the price. But here's what he didn't expect. These aren't small nations trembling at America's feet. They're economic giants, and they're done playing by Washington's rules. What's happening right now could reshape everything you know about money, savings, and the global economy, and it's moving faster than anyone predicted. The BRICS bloc started as just 5 countries back in 2009: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Emerging economies trying to find their voice in a world dominated by the West. But something changed. By 2024, 4 more nations joined. Then, in 2025, Indonesia became a member, and 9 more countries are lining up at the door. These aren't just random additions. We're talking about economic powerhouses with growing middle classes, massive populations, and resources the world desperately needs. Together, BRICS now controls 56% of the global population and close to half of the world's GDP. Let that sink in for a second. They're now bigger than the entire G7 combined. That's Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, and the United States all put together. Back in 2009, the G7 was untouchable, the dominant economic force on the planet. By 2025, the tables have turned completely. BRICS makes up over 2/3 of the world's population, and their GDP growth is crushing the competition. While the G7 is projected to grow at barely 1.2% in 2025, BRICS is sitting at 3.4%, nearly triple the rate. These countries have moved from being dependent on agriculture and raw materials to becoming diversified industrial and technological powers. China went from a closed economy to the world's factory. India is transforming into a tech and manufacturing giant. Brazil is breaking free from commodity dependence. And Russia, despite sanctions, still controls massive energy reserves the world can't ignore. This isn't just growth. This is a fundamental shift in global power, and the West is starting to realize it might be too late to stop it. Here's where things get really interesting. BRICS isn't just talking about challenging the dollar anymore. They're actually doing it. Between 2021 and 2024, trade between BRICS nations exploded by over $700 billion. That's not a typo. $700 billion in just 3 years. But the volume isn't even the scariest part. It's how they're trading, because a massive chunk of that commerce is no longer happening in US dollars. In China's overseas transactions, the yuan has overtaken the dollar for the first time in history. Back in 2020, more than half of China's cross-border trades were settled in dollars. By 2025, that completely flipped. Now over 50% is done in yuan. And this shift is showing up in real banking systems across the globe. Southeast Asia's biggest lender, DBS, reported a 30% year-over-year increase in yuan settlement flows, especially in trade between China, Latin America, and the Middle East. This is the clearest signal yet that an alternative system is being built right under America's nose, and you can see it playing out in real economies. Take Brazil, for example. In less than a year, thousands of cars made by Ford disappeared from factory lots and were replaced almost entirely by Chinese BYD electric vehicles. BYD is now the world's biggest EV maker, and they've poured multi-billion-dollar investments into Brazil with new production lines and payment agreements in local currencies that completely bypass the US dollar. Every car sold in yuan instead of dollars is one less transaction supporting American dominance. It's one more step toward higher borrowing costs in the US. This is what de-dollarization looks like in real time, and it's not slowing down. Then came the tariffs, and everything accelerated. President Trump decided to hit 2 BRICS members, India and Brazil, with tariffs as high as 50% on billions of dollars worth of exports. The goal was obvious: punish them, divide them, force them back into line. But it backfired spectacularly. Right now, factories in India and Brazil are slowing down. Orders are being canceled. Millions of jobs are at risk. And instead of begging for mercy, these countries are fighting back harder than ever. India, one of the closest US allies in the BRICS bloc, just made a stunning announcement. They will not be buying American-made weapons anymore. That's a direct slap in the face to Washington. For years, India has been a major buyer of US defense equipment. Now that pipeline is shut, Brazil isn't backing down either. They filed a formal complaint at the WTO and are preparing their own retaliatory tariffs. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. Instead of dividing BRICS, these tariffs are pulling them closer together. Countries that used to compete with each other are now forming strategic alliances. India's Prime Minister Modi and Brazil's President Lula recently held a call to discuss deepening their partnership in trade, technology, energy, defense, agriculture, and health. These are nations that barely coordinated before, and now they're building integrated supply chains that cut the US out entirely. The message is clear. Trump wanted to weaken BRICS. Instead, he gave them a common enemy. Now BRICS is going on the offensive, and their moves are calculated. First, they're building new payment networks that completely bypass SWIFT, the system that has allowed the US to control global finance for decades. Without access to SWIFT, countries can't easily trade in dollars. But if BRICS has its own system, they don't need SWIFT anymore. They don't need the dollar anymore. Second, oil sales are being priced in currencies like the Chinese yuan. This is massive. For decades, oil has been traded in dollars, which created constant global demand for the currency. Now, major producers are accepting yuan, rupees, and other local currencies. That demand is evaporating. Third, there are serious talks about a shared BRICS currency. Brazil's President Lula stood up at the recent BRICS summit in Rio and called on member countries to test this new currency. It's being designed as a direct challenger to the dollar, potentially backed by a basket of commodities like gold, oil, and rare earth minerals. This isn't happening overnight, but the foundation is being laid. And here's the most surprising development. India's Prime Minister Modi and China's President Xi Jinping, two leaders who have been at odds for years over border disputes and regional dominance, are now working together to rebuild their economic ties. If these two can find common ground, it shows just how serious this movement has become. The dollar's share of global reserves has already dropped from over 70% 2 decades ago to about 58% today. And that decline is accelerating. BRICS is making sure of it. But the real shocker might be Japan. Reports are emerging about private meetings in Shanghai where Japanese, Chinese, and Russian officials explored what full BRICS membership might look like. Let that sink in for a moment. Japan, a founding member of the G7, a country that has been America's closest ally in Asia for over 70 years, is now considering joining the opposition. And it's not hard to see why. Trump's tariffs hit Japanese cars first. Honda, Toyota, Nissan, industries that are woven into Japan's national identity, suddenly faced massive duties. Nearly a third of Japan's car exports went to the United States, and overnight that pipeline was choked. Then came tariffs on electronics, semiconductors, agriculture, even seafood. Trump went online to defend the move, saying America must come first, and that even allies can't take advantage of US generosity. In Tokyo, that line landed like a betrayal. Members of parliament were reportedly asking each other, if even Japan isn't considered an ally, then what is left? While Japan was reeling, Beijing and Moscow moved in fast. Chinese delegations started arriving with offers of tech partnerships, joint energy projects, and payment systems that sidestep the dollar entirely. And the numbers tell the story. Japanese exports to China have jumped 14% in just 6 months. Sales to India are up 21%, Brazil 18%. Even Russia, despite sanctions, is still in the mix through energy trade that other countries are exploiting too. Japan is quietly realizing that its future might not be with Washington anymore. If Japan joins BRICS, it would be the most significant geopolitical realignment in modern history. The G7 would lose one of its core members, and BRICS would gain a technological and industrial powerhouse with deep financial markets and global influence. The question isn't whether this could happen anymore. It's whether America can do anything to stop it. Now here's the end game. BRICS isn't just trying to reduce dollar dependence. They want to replace it entirely. At the Rio summit, President Lula didn't just suggest exploring alternatives. He called on members to actively test a new BRICS currency. This isn't some distant dream anymore. The architecture is being designed right now, and here's what makes it dangerous. The currency would likely be backed by a basket of commodities, including gold, Bitcoin, oil reserves, and rare earth minerals. Unlike fiat currencies that rely on trust in a government, this would be tied to real assets that hold value no matter what happens politically. It's a hedge against inflation, against sanctions, against the kind of financial manipulation the US has used for decades. Some estimates suggest the currency could be ready for limited testing by late 2025 or early 2026. If it works, even on a small scale, it creates an alternative that other countries will flock to. Why deal with dollar volatility and US political pressure when you can trade in a currency backed by tangible resources and supported by half the world's economy? And the impact would be devastating for the US. Right now, global demand for dollars means that countries need to hold US Treasury bonds. That demand keeps interest rates low and allows America to borrow cheaply. But if that demand drops, and foreign ownership of treasuries is already down to about 30% of outstanding US debt, interest rates will spike. Financing the federal deficit becomes more expensive. Borrowing costs for consumers go up. Mortgages, car loans, credit cards, everything gets pricier. On top of that, US sanctions, one of America's most powerful geopolitical tools, become almost useless. Sanctions work because they cut countries off from the dollar system. But if there's an alternative system, sanctions lose their bite. Russia has already proven this. Despite being hit with some of the harshest sanctions in history, they've managed to keep their economy afloat by trading in yuan and other currencies with BRICS partners. If more countries follow that playbook, America's leverage on the world stage collapses. So what does all of this mean for everyday Americans? The first hit is immediate. Economists estimate that the 10% tariff on BRICS, plus the targeted 50% on India and Brazil, could cost American consumers and businesses up to $56 billion every year in higher prices. That's everything from electronics and cars to everyday consumer goods getting more expensive. And yes, economists can be wrong, but the risk is real. On the export side, BRICS markets account for a huge portion of US exports. Billions of dollars in aircraft, agricultural goods, and tech could be lost if these countries follow through with retaliation and stop buying American products. That would hit companies hard and ripple through stock prices and jobs. But the long-term threat is even bigger. If BRICS succeeds in trading more in yuan, rupees, rubles, or their own shared currency, global demand for US dollars drops. That means fewer countries buying US Treasury bonds. With foreign ownership already declining, this could push interest rates much higher and keep them there longer than anyone expects. That makes it more expensive for the US government to finance deficits and more expensive for regular people to borrow money. And here's the kicker. For decades, Americans have benefited from the dollar's strength. Cheaper imports, lower borrowing costs, higher purchasing power when traveling overseas. It's made a lot of people wealthy. It's also acted as an escape valve for inflation. Dollars leaving the US through global demand meant inflation had somewhere to go instead of just piling up domestically. If that changes, inflation could become a much bigger problem at home. Markets are already reacting. Bond yields have been volatile throughout 2025. Safe haven assets like gold and Bitcoin have been outperforming traditional investments, and every time there's a BRICS currency headline, money flows into these alternatives. Other emerging economies are watching this fight closely too, deciding whether to stick with the US and its dollar system or jump ship to BRICS. The world is splitting into two camps, and right now, momentum is on BRICS side. This is a trend that's been building for decades. We've heard the warnings before, but 2025 feels different. The pieces are actually moving now. Countries are making concrete decisions, payment systems are being built, currencies are being tested, trade routes are being redrawn. For 80 years, the US dollar has been the unquestioned king of global finance. It's given America unmatched power to shape world events, punish enemies, and reward allies. But that era might be ending. Not overnight, not with a sudden collapse, but gradually, steadily, as more countries realize they have options now. BRICS represents half the world's economy. They control critical resources. They have growing technological capabilities. And most importantly, they're united by a common goal: financial independence from the United States. The question isn't whether the world is changing anymore. It's whether America can adapt to a world where the dollar isn't the only game in town. And whether everyday Americans are ready for what comes next. Higher costs, higher interest rates, less global influence, a financial system that's multipolar instead of US-dominated. Some see this as a threat. Others see it as the natural evolution of a world that's no longer centered on one superpower. Either way, the war on the dollar is real. It's happening right now, and the outcome will shape the next century of global economics. So the real question is, are you ready for a world where the dollar isn't king anymore?